Welcome to Radio Express World News, presented by Vibha Ramesh, Los Angeles, United States. A U.S. biotechnology company, Novavax, is making headway in the development of a coronavirus vaccine. Headquartered in Maryland, Novavax received a $1.6 billion deal from the federal government after it announced promising results in 2 preliminary studies on Tuesday. While 5 other potential vaccines are in phase 2 and 3 of clinical trials, Novavax's results were the most impressive even after phase 1, according to John Moore, a virologist at Weill Cornell Medicine. Meanwhile, discussions on a coronavirus stimulus package continued on Tuesday, and top Trump administration officials will be convening another meeting with congressional Democrats. The directive issued by the Health Department of Maryland has brought out a divide between public and private schools over reopening plans. Governor Larry Hogan countermanded the order, stating that health officials do not have the authority to instruct private schools. As a mark of protest over the manner in which New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio addressed the pandemic, Health Commissioner Dr. Oxiris Barbeau resigned on Tuesday. She was promptly replaced by Dr. Dave Chokshi, a former senior leader at Health Plus Hospitals. Moving on, travelers arriving from Rhode Island into New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey will now have to quarantine for 14 days. The order was issued by the governors of New York and Connecticut, which already mandated the rule for travelers flying in from 33 other states. Isaias lashed heavy rains and winds at 70 miles per hour as the storm swept through the Carolinas and into the Northeast. The heavy storm led to a power cut in parts of several states. Starting Tuesday, mask wearing will be compulsory in retail and public spaces in Mississippi, as announced by Governor Tate Reeves. He also added that teachers and students should wear masks when schools reopen this fall, and schools in 8 worst-hit counties will see a delayed start of the academic year. In response to Moscow's announcement that it would begin widespread vaccination in October with a vaccine that has not yet cleared clinical trials, the World Health Organization requested Russia to comply with preset guidelines for producing safe and effective vaccines. The race to produce the first coronavirus vaccine is pushing companies to cut corners in research and subject people with an unsafe product. To this, Dr. Anthony Fauci said, "I do hope that the Chinese and the Russians are actually testing the vaccine before they're administering the vaccine to anyone." The border dispute between India and China indicates a tougher line from India, as the latter is not ready to iron out the differences, although China urges to keep border disputes and bilateral relations separate. Foreign Minister Jaishankar stated, "The state of the border and the future of our ties cannot be separated. That is reality." Despite the increasing single-day cases of coronavirus in the nation, the center says that there is no reason to be overwhelmed, as the government plans to increase the testing to 1 million tests per day. There is more proof that it is still unsafe to resume in-person instructions in schools. To this effect, schools that reopened in May in Israel reported fresh cases of coronavirus within days. As fierce and contagious as the virus is, it rapidly transmitted through students to their homes and then to other schools and neighborhoods, eventually infecting hundreds of people, including students, staff, and relatives. Those infected are now in quarantine as several schools shut down. The recent outbreak in Melbourne, Australia, has initiated more stringent restrictions as the city battles the deadly virus. The spiraling outbreak comes at a time when the nation thought it had contained the virus and successfully controlled its transmission. Moreover, the situation of having to deal with more restrictions and extended lockdown has instigated an unending list of doubts and confusions that officials are left to deal with. The recent curfew order of 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. has raised queries from restaurant owners about food delivery after 8 p.m. The Tanzanian president's bizarre approach of handling the virus has raised eyebrows in neighboring countries as well. Tanzania has not reported a single new case of coronavirus in the past 87 days, as President John Magufuli believes that the country has purged the virus. The president owes his belief to the power of prayer. Further, he promoted an unproven herbal tea from Madagascar as a cure for the virus. He also trivialized the use of masks and social distancing. Failure to disseminate any data to the World Health Organization could lead to a delay in detecting the virus at an early stage, which in turn could delay its containment, by which time several thousand people would be infected. Commenting on this, Dr. Fran Minya, an associate professor of radiology and biomedical imaging at the Yale School of Medicine, said, With no testing data or clinical surveillance information, Tanzania will be late in detecting and dealing with the potentially delayed explosion of several clinical cases. Meanwhile, in Lebanon, a large explosion near the city's port shook the capital of Beirut on Tuesday at 6:07 p.m., the cause of which was initially unknown. But later on, a statement made by the Prime Minister, Hassan Diab, stated that approximately 2,750 tons of confiscated ammonium nitrate had been stored at a warehouse for the past 6 years. The explosion killed at least 78 people and injured 4,000. While hospitals in the country are already overwhelmed with coronavirus patients, the explosion has imposed a bigger burden on hospital staff and other healthcare workers. As far as the coronavirus numbers go, Lebanon recorded 5,062 cases and 65 deaths. Bringing you to the end of today's report, Bahamas Prime Minister Hubert Minnis has announced a 2-week national lockdown starting 10 p.m. on Tuesday. At the end of the mandated 2-week period, the situation would be assessed against health data to advise a further lockdown if required. This move is a direct implication of the recent spike in coronavirus cases after nearly 44% of the total numbers were recorded in 1 week. With that, we come to the end of this news bulletin. Thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for the next program on Radio Express. To receive Radio Express English news and English programs in your WhatsApp, please send a WhatsApp message, English programs, to 90727 95547. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Radio Express. Thank you.